My name is Tess Altiveros. I'm from Seattle, Washington, and I was born and raised here, and I'm still here. It's a pretty good place to call home and have as a home base. I love singing Mozart. Susanna is one of my favorite roles of all time. Last year I did The Falling and the Rising, which is a fairly recent opera written about the kind of the soldiers' experience, and that was really an extraordinary journey. I also love singing early music. I come from musical theater way back when. I ran into a lot of confusion about like, what is it that you sing? What's your repertoire? What's your Fach, as we would say? It's taken me down a variety of different paths, doing all kinds of different projects, and so I really enjoy that variety that has come with saying yes to lots of different things. Maria and I are roster buddies with Athlone artists, and that's how we found each other for this project. And I'm so glad that happened. It was I mean, completely just a good fortune for as far as I can see. I play the role of Rockstar, and while I am probably the least cool person involved in this project, yeah, there's a lot that kind of rang true for me. Like the first few lines that she sings. I am a successful mid-career vocalist. I left that young artist thing a while ago, and then I found management. There's like these unicorns with management, and that's like, I find that very funny. But there's a lot of things that she says that I think will ring true for a lot of people, not just me. I found some kindred spirit in the character of Rockstar. That's a hard question. Like the combination of Gilda's libretto and score with this in this medium of like a little animated short film, it works so well. It's so clever and simple, but not. It's this perfect little gem, and it's so timely. I mean, obviously, it's very moving. Like there's some silly parts and really witty parts, and but I find the end so moving. And so I love the vision on a whole for this work. I mean, there are definitely some spots that I just really loved singing, and I, for a variety of reasons, was kind of the last person to finish recording. So I was really lucky because I had the other singers like in my ear. I got to actually sort of like hear them while I was singing, and I know that they were just singing with, you know, nobody for the most part. So I was totally spoiled, and I got to enjoy singing the end. It makes me cry. I just find it beautiful. It's beautiful. That's a very vague answer. There's not a whole lot to not love about this project. The other thing I love about it, and just in general, and about the greater Decameron vision, is the idea that all of these forces from all over the world are simultaneously fiercely creating art, new art, just fighting to continue creating. And that is so inspiring and uplifting, and there's so much power in it. The commitment to creating art in the face of how do we do it now? How do we do what we're called to do? And then a team of people who were like, you know what, this is what we can do. We can do this. And then everyone was like, yes, let's do that. And you can feel these different forces from around the world working together on this massive undertaking, and that I love so much. this sense of simultaneous, distant but connected effort. And I find that really beautiful. It was a challenge. Some parts of creating a new work at home are kind of cool, like well, I'm home, which is nice. I mean, I love traveling. I love being on the road. I love that part of my job. But I have a daughter, and it's cool to be near her and with her more, and to have the comforts of home available. And also, I do find that, again, like, I find it rewarding, the poetic nature of creating art, even with people who are not in the city or the state that I'm in. It's also very challenging. This piece has so much really tight ensemble rhythmic singing. So I was really living in deep admiration of, like, the attention to detail and the precision and the care for accuracy that I got from Maria, and that I was getting from the other singers as well. So it was really, really wonderful to be creating new work with people I've not worked with before, and creating those new connections in a time when I didn't think I'd be able to do that. So it was great. The challenges were technical. They were things like, how do you create a home studio and not have it sound like you're singing in a little box, which is your apartment? I think that was the little note I got back when I sent in my first few recordings, was like, it sounds like you're singing in like a small nook in the, you know, in your apartment, which is 100% what was happening. So I had to like steal my daughter's sleeping bag, and I got my yoga mat and stuff like that, and just made this, it was a fort, basically, like a recording fort. And you know, figuring out how to set levels with the equipment that I had, which had limitations, I think, and not being like sounding too distant or too muffled, or, you know, when we're trained to sing acoustically, and so some of these microphones, you know, it's difficult to find a setting where you're not maxing out the microphone. So that was, I think, the real challenge was just the things we used to take for granted, being in the same place at the same time, and just being able to sing, and what you get is my sound live in the room that we're in. But since we're recording and then mixing, it's a totally different skill set. All of the kudos in the world to Maria and her team. They're just magicians and have the patience of saints. The silver lining is being able to be part of creating a new work, creating art, creating with other people, and making connections with other people in a time when I really feared I would not be able to do that. And I think that a lot of the great grief that was welling up in me and so many artists and everybody, you know, at the beginning of this time, was how do we stay connected to our calling and our fellow human beings when we have to stay home and think of the greater good, and it was really frightening to not know when we would be able to do that. And while it looks very different, we've been able to do that here, and that is more than I could have dared to hope for. Listen for those moments that are complex rhythmic sections and like really tight little harmonies and things like that, all these little ensemble bits, and just, you know, imagine what it would be like to create something like that not being with your castmates. You know what? I have not tried making sourdough. However, I definitely was on a bread kick. I doing the sourdough starter was like one step one step beyond what I had patience for. And I found this recipe that involved kind of, it was the simplest recipe I found in the New York Times. And I was baking our own, like, these beautiful loaves, you know, like twice a week, something like that. And then we also were making bagels. It was like Sunday is like bagel making day, and like boil them and stuff. And I think I actually maxed out on the bagels. My daughter's like, no more bagels. So I have a 9-year-old. What I think I'm most proud of is she now, she's gotten a lot of practice cooking and baking, and so she can now just bake on her own. The other day she was like, I want to make banana muffins, and I was like, well, I don't. And she said, that's okay, I'll do it. So she did. She did it. She, from start to finish, made some muffins from scratch, and that was awesome. As a native Pacific Northwesterner, I have always felt very guilty that I do not hike on a regular basis, or kind of at all. But this summer I thought, you know, I can't scratch that travel itch that I have, so I'm just gonna go hike and explore this region, and that's been really cool. So I feel a little bit more like I've earned my native Pacific Northwesterner badge by doing all my hiking this summer. Oh, also I got an extra cat. Because who isn't getting extra cats these days?